Well, you can see her now, but it's not loading on here.
Why is it not loading on the TV?
Or leave it. Leave it.
Leave it again.
Just give me that.
All right, all right. I'll be back. What's the big? Start the video. No, what's the big 8?
That's somebody else. I'm trying to see. I don't know if this is muted. Because they're muted. Oh, there we go. Oh.
All right, I guess I'll go ahead and come off mute. If you hear my husband and my 7-week-old puppy in the background,
Sorry.
I apologize. We're gonna be having some cats in the video probably. They'll be making some guest appearances. Jackie, I'm really excited that you're here. Hey, feel free to turn on the camera anytime. If you want to, you can keep it off, totally fine. Yoga is for you, not for anybody else to see. So doesn't matter what it looks like. Yeah, Emily, same. I feel like I've just been sitting for hours and hours, so I get it. I'm in the same boat.
Hi.
Hey, how are you? Good. Well, I'm just gonna have to go to that right now. Bye, puppy.
I'm so fucking confused as to what happened to it.
He is. He's a stinky cutie. And thank you. I think so too. Hey!
Hello.
Oh, I need to rename my name.
Okay. Chanel's on here.
I'm in.
2, 1. Chanel, please tell me you're seeing this.
Oh my goodness, the new pup. So cute. Little arrow. How's it been as a new dog mom?
You know, it's exciting.
Dog mom.
It's real exciting. He's been pretty good. He's been pretty good. Dad's gonna take care of him. So
Good.
yes.
Cool.
Hopefully it's not too distracting in here.
Well,
I'm gonna give probably just like 1 or 2 more minutes. I'm gonna talk for just a sec before we get started, but just make sure.
I've still got time on my watch.
Yeah. And if everybody that is coming on, please feel free, throw on your video if you want to. You do not have to if you do not want to. I was just telling a couple people before, the yoga's for you, not for anybody else. So if you don't want people to see you, that's totally fine. Turn off, turn on. I'm always happy to watch y'all's beautiful faces. So do what you feel is comfortable.
Yeah, I pretty much told everybody that they could, keep video on or off. I figure, there'll be maybe some of my yogis. I have some seasoned yogis in here, so they might allow people to watch. I kind of encouraged that. I was like, yeah, if you are a yogi, definitely leave it open so people can see form checks and stuff.
Totally. And that's the thing.
So I'll leave mine on.
For sure. That's the thing. We're all in this together. We've all got different practices.
I've already got my pajamas on, so I'm good.
Same.
I'm ready. I'm ready. After this, it's pretty much just TV and bed.
Totally. I'm same boat. Gonna be corralling that one. I I guess I'll go ahead and just start with like an introduction. That cool. Chanel, are you wanting to say anything? Do you want me to?
No, you go. This is all yours. This is your class.
This is still like a newish like platform for me. Well, hey guys, my name is Leah. I am a yoga instructor here in Louisville, Kentucky. I guess you could say I've been in field work. I've been a certified teacher for about 5 years. I am really excited to be here. I'm excited to teach this class for you all. I'm sorry that it's under these circumstances, but you know, it's kind of like when life gives you lemons, do some yoga, I guess.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. So I'm really glad that you guys are here. Chanel, is this going to be recorded at all?
It is recorded. I opened up some space on the recording, so hopefully it'll take it all.
Perfect. Okay, awesome. I'm glad that it's going to be recorded. That way, if you guys, for those of you who are not joining live, feel free to just pop it in whenever you need. I'm going to ask everybody to put themselves on mute, just so that way you guys can keep hearing me. Hopefully my sound is coming through well. If for some reason, if something isn't coming up for you all, or if it stalls, if you know something happens, just tap it in the comments section and I'll do my best to make sure that I check that. What we're going to be doing today is a 60-minute VIN YIN. So we are going to do the first 30 minutes vinyasa flow. So basically vinyasa flow is just another really fancy term for dynamic stretching or dynamic moving. So these are movements that maybe you can incorporate pre-lift. So maybe these are some things that you can take away with you. Maybe this is something that you can incorporate into your own practice. And then the last 30 minutes is going to be that more static stretching. So that's what you can do post-lift. So these are going to be poses that we're going to hold for a super long period of time, and just to get into like this super deep muscle tissue. So first 30 minutes, we're going to flow. Last 30 minutes, we're going to chill out a little bit. I think we all kind of need that. And I did, if you all are logging on with your laptop, if you have your phone with you, and if you like flowing with music, I did make a playlist. So if you go to my Spotify, it's just Leah Jo Turner, and that's LEAHJO Turner. And you can go straight to my playlist, and it's VIN YIN Quarantine. I know it's probably not in the best taste, but it works. Helps me to remember. So feel free to flow along, pop that in. And the only prop that I would recommend having is either like a towel or a blanket of some sort, something just cushiony for your knees in case you need that for the last 30 minutes or anytime at all. So we'll go ahead and we'll get started. Again, hopefully you all can see me. We're gonna get started on our backs. So take the soles of the feet together and the knees wide, and go ahead and recline all the way back. And a couple options for your arms: you can either cactus out your arms, or you can reach your arms up and overhead, grab opposite elbows. And if this, for some reason, just doesn't feel really good in the hips, you can just plant the feet down, take them the width of your mat, and let your knees fall in. So just whatever feels good for you. And maybe your eyes are closed, maybe you focus up on one spot on the ceiling. Just start getting grounded into your mat, into your space. Take this time to chill. And you may have distractions around you. Maybe you've got animals, maybe you've got kids, maybe you've got other members of your family or friends that live with you that are making noises. And that's totally fine. So that's one of the beauties of yoga, is just learning to tune out and tune into your body. So whatever maybe was going on throughout the remainder of your week, maybe you have some more things coming up for you. Maybe there's a little bit of anxiety, or maybe there's It's a little bit of feeling of uncertainty. It's okay. Maybe setting yourself an intention of acceptance or autonomy or choice. Maybe there's a different word that you want to hold on to for your practice, for yourself. This is something that I challenge you to be able to carry with you outside of your mat this evening. There's no need to alter what you're doing. I'm just taking these next few moments just to scan the body and notice. Are there any feelings of tightness? Maybe you've been sitting for a long time, doing some work at home, or maybe just chilling. Just take this time, take inventory of what's going on. And not creating a story around what's going on or why it's going on, but just allowing it to be exactly what it is right now and creating a little bit of peace with that. And then from here, we're just going to take 2 to 3 cleansing breaths in this pose. So from here, go ahead and part your lips and just empty out all of your breath. Just let it spill out completely. Parting the lips. Seal the lips all the way up. Inhale, fill through the belly, fill through the chest, and let the back of the throat fill. Hold. Pause. Open mouth, side out, let it go. And one more, just like that, sealing the lips back up. Take an inhale, fill up through the belly, fill up through the chest and the back of the throat. Expand as much as you need to. Inhale. Open mouth, side out. Let it go. Whether your eyes are closed or focusing up on one spot in the ceiling, take one more full round of breath. This time just in through the nose and out through the nose. On your next inhale, go ahead and unwind the arms and reach them down by your knees. And then bring your knees back together, planting your feet down onto the floor, and then hug your knees into your chest. Just give that low back a nice massage here. You can move the clockwise, counterclockwise, keeping the shoulders out of the ears, whatever feels good for you. Just give yourself a little bit of love, give yourself a hug. Since we can't do any physical hugs, it's probably good for us to be able to give ourselves a hug. Good. And then from here, go ahead and take your arms out to a T. Bump the hips over to the left and just drop the knees over to the right and take a little spinal twist. So nice and gentle, nothing too crazy. And then here, working to keep that left shoulder down to the mat. That left shoulder is gonna have a tendency to wanna pop up as your knees move down to the floor. Try not to let it. So that may mean that you need to take like a blanket or something like that and prop it underneath that right knee, and that's totally fine. Take a breath here, inhale. Stay on your exhale. One more, inhale. And exhale. On that next inhale, go ahead and pick your knees up, come back through to center, bump the hips over to the right, drop the knees over to the left. And then encouraging that right shoulder blade down. Take an inhale. Stay on your exhale. One more, inhale. And exhale. Come back through center, hug both knees into your chest. And either from here, you can take your hands up to the outsides of your knees or peace fingers to your big toes. Just take happy baby. So you're separating the feet just as wide as possible while inviting a really big bend into your knees. Try not to let your sacrum pop up. So you don't want that lumbar to lift. You want to try to press it down as much as possible. So if fingers to toes just isn't accessible, hands behind the knees works just fine. And then from here, you can kind of rock side to side, tilt the chin in slightly towards the chest. Just give yourself a little bit of movement here. Maybe you can extend one leg, maybe the other. We haven't touched the hamstrings at all, so take this nice and gentle. Good. One breath here, inhale. Stay on that exhale. Hug both knees into your chest. Let's create a little momentum. Let's start getting into our flow. Rock and roll, shoulders to feet. And then once you are done with those rocks and rolls, go ahead and roll over your knees. Plant your hands and make your way into a tabletop position. So hands are slightly in front of the shoulders. Knees are directly stacked underneath the hips. And then go ahead and extend the right leg long down towards the back of the mat. Toes are tucked. And then go ahead and rock your weight back to where your shoulders are going to move behind the wrists. So that way you get more weight into that right heel, kind of gas pedaling through the right toes. And you can move into little circles here, moving clockwise or moving counterclockwise. You can get into the toes, get into the Achilles. And just a breath here, inhale. And exhale. Come back over where the shoulders are going to stack over the wrists, and then just lift the right toes up, keeping the hips nice and squared. Pull in the pit of the belly. Reach that left arm forward. Take an inhale. Find your reach. And then on your exhale, go ahead and round your spine. Pull your knee and your elbow in together. Really try to press through that right hand to round the spine. Inhale, find your length. Extend, crown of the head is forward. Exhale, go ahead, pull the elbow into the knee, round. 2 more times, inhale, find your length. Exhale, round. Use your breath, last one, inhale. And exhale, round. Find that length here, go ahead, re-extend. Lower the left hand down. From here, just start to stack that right hip on top of the left hip. So starting to open the hips up. Keep the left hand down, maybe even tuck the left toes just for a little bit of stability. Reach that right arm up, modified side plank. You can reach that right arm up and over the ear. Find length into your side body. Take an inhale. On your exhale, pull knee and elbow in together. Inhale, find your length. Exhale, knee into elbow. It's a little bit harder. Last one, inhale, length. Exhale, knee into elbow. Keep that connection here. Stay here. Look forward towards the front of your mat. Step that right foot up towards the front of your mat. Back toes are tucked. Lift that back knee. Easy twist. Reach that right arm up towards the ceiling. Nice big open twist into that hip. So the left hand is down, right arm reaches up towards the ceiling. Maybe even reach that right arm up and over your ear. Lengthen to the side body. Open the chest up. Spiral it open towards the ceiling. One breath here, inhale. Stay on that exhale. One more, inhale, lift. Try to pull that right hip back. Exhale. Lower that right hand down. Frame the foot. So from here, you're kind of in this runner's lunge. The hands should be down. The chest should be caving up towards your spine, rounding through your spine. Press down through your hands. Draw that right knee back into your nose. Round through your spine. And maybe you kind of draw that foot back. And then bring that knee into your nose. Step and back. 3. The hips square. Layer the toes towards the foot. Nice 3-legged dog here. Then I lengthen to that left hamstring. Take an inhale. Lower that right foot down to meet the left foot, downward facing dog. And then since this is our first downward facing dog, we haven't gotten into the hamstrings much. Just pedal through your feet. Then through one knee and then the other.
Cargo area is secured. Pallets are sealed.
What the hell is going on, sir?
Grave misunderstanding.
Take a couple more breaths here.
Robert found another way off that air station.
We still need to talk to the crew.
Guys, let's chat.
I'm just unmuting for a second to remind people who are not muted to mute.
Got something.
Good. And then lower those knees back down, tabletop position, switch to the other side. Go ahead and extend that left foot up towards the back of the mat. We're gonna start all over again. So go ahead and just rock the weight into that left heel. And then spinning into slightly. So just getting into the toes, getting into the back of the Achilles, the calf. Just gas pedaling that left leg out.
It's like a piece of my rubber.
Where's the rest of them?
I was friended by someone claiming to be God. I started sending friend suggestions for people who need help.
Hey, Yolanda, can you use your screens with the computer?
Reconnecting families
Thank you.
and saving someone's life.
We are basically the Justice League.
Helping people,
Go ahead and
changing
slap
lives.
the shoulders back
So
over. Lift the left toe, left heel in square. Reach that right arm out in line with
Sundays
here.
on CBS.
Extension, inhale to length. Exhale, draw an elbow.
I care about results, not process.
Inhale to length.
You don't say
Two
the
more
line
times.
like
Exhale, draw elbow to knee.
On
And
CBS.
again, inhale, find that length, extend. Exhale, draw elbow into knee. Reach that right arm all the way back out. Lower the right hand down. Keep that left leg lifted. This time we're gonna stack that left hip on top of the right and then reach that left arm up towards the ceiling. So I apologize that my back is to you all. Hopefully you all can still hear me. Reach that left arm up and over your ear. Take an inhale, find your length. And on your exhale, draw an elbow to knee. Crunch it in. Inhale to length. Exhale, draw it in. Two more, inhale, length. Exhale, draw. Last one, inhale, length. Draw it in, exhale, keep that connection. Try to hold it in as much as possible. And then pull that left foot up towards the front of your mat. Back toes are tucked. Lift that back knee. Inhale, reach that left arm up towards the ceiling. So again, I know my back is to you all, so hopefully you all can still hear me. So drawing that left hip back into space. That feels good for you. You can always take something underneath your hands to give yourself a little bit of extra lift here too. Okay, reach that left arm up and over your ear. Find length into your side body. 2 breaths, inhale. Exhale. 1 more, inhale. Stay on that exhale. Lower that left hand down. Frame the foot. Plant down through your hands. Round through your spine. Curl the chin in towards your chest. Draw that left knee into your nose. Round. Shoot it up and back. 3-legged dog. Hips are square. A nice big stretch into that right hamstring. Try to nod the head yes. Shake the head no. Keep everything nice and soft. Lower that left foot to meet the right foot. And again, pedal through your feet. Downward facing dog. So again, we haven't done much with the hamstrings. So from here, the thing that I'm concerned about the most into this downward facing dog is your hands and your spine. So if you can, look up at me, spread your hands like starfish fingers, like super wide to where you can see the color of your mat between each finger. And then from here, take a really big bend into your knees and then press your belly towards the tops of your thighs. So you want to find as much length into your spine here. So even if that means bent knees, I do not care if your heels touch the floor. It's not the goal of down dog, okay? So take an inhale, draw the belly in, pull in the chest towards the thighs, nod the head yes, shake the head no. And then from here, try to keep the length into your spine and then maybe starting to release the heels a little closer. Try not to lose the integrity of the spine, okay? So maybe your heels connect today, maybe they don't. That's totally fine if they don't. Tuck the chin into your chest, roll forward, high plank pose. Stack the shoulders over the wrists. Hands are still nice and wide. So you're in plank pose. I'm pretty sure most of us have probably done a plank pose before, but if you haven't, you want everything to be nice and stable here. So if you start to notice if your hips are dragging down or dragging too far up, just lower your knees, okay? So pause here for a breath. Take an inhale. Shift the weight forward, inhale. Lower knees, lower chest, lower chin. So you're in kind of like this little wormy pose with your hips nice and lifted. Squeeze the elbows in towards the midline. Slide forward, untuck the toes, squeeze the ankles in together, cobra pose. Exhale, lower all the way down to the mat. Tuck the toes, draw your heels back towards the back of your mat, and then maybe even your knees will lift. Maybe you keep them down if you want to. Squeeze your elbows, press up, high plank pose. Nice long line. Downward facing dog, roll over the toes. Inhale, lift that right leg up towards the ceiling. Take an inhale. Keep the hips square just at first. Try to find as much length into that left hamstring as possible. So think of driving that right heel back towards the back of your room, like you're gonna punch a hole into the back of the wall. Bend at your knee, stack open your hips. So just like in that modified side plank, you're stacking that right hip on top of your left. That right hand and that right shoulder is gonna wanna lift. Don't let it, keep them squared, okay? So you might feel a little bit of tightness here. Maybe you've been sitting a lot. So maybe you wanna take some little circles into that knee, it's great. This flow is supposed to be dynamic. You are not static. So it's okay to move a little bit with it, okay? Re-square off the hips. Re-extend through that right leg. Draw knee into your nose, round through your spine. Shoot it up and back, three-legged dog. And again, knee into nose, round. Step it up in between your hands. Drop your back knee, pull the hips back, half splits. So front leg is straight. Toes are flaring towards your face here. Shoulders are back. Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale, fold. Think chin to shin. Okay? So you can be up on your fingertips. You can draw your hands back behind you if you have a little bit more length into the hamstrings. Crown of the head is forward. One breath here, inhale. Stay on your exhale. Walk those hands forward. From here, lift up halfway. So halfway lift just means you're resetting the spine. So finding this little lift into the hips and into the spine and into the chest as well. Keep the left hand down, right arm reaches up towards the ceiling in this kind of half splits pose. You're turning your toes out to 2 o'clock, okay? Reach that right arm up and over your ear, find length into the side body. One inhale. Stay on your exhale. Lower that right hand down. Inside of the foot, bend into that front knee. You can tuck the back toes and lift that back knee, or if you need a little bit more into the hip, if you're ready to kind of chill a little bit, you can lower that back knee down. So you can stay up on your hands, or forearms can come down to the mat, okay? This is lizard lunge. And again, you can kind of move into this a little bit. I like to take my right hand onto the inside of the knee, press my chest open. You can make this as dynamic or as static as you want, okay? So whatever feels good for you. One full round of breath here. Inhale. Stay on that exhale. And then from here, if that back knee is lifted, go ahead and lower it down. And then walk that left hand super far off your mat, like way off your mat. Right hand inside of the knee. Press that knee away. Lower the hips down. So try not to let your hips lift up when you do this. Keep them sinking down nice and low as much as possible. Open through the chest, lay it back. Okay? And if you're feeling real spicy, you can tuck the back toes and then drive that heel towards the outside of that left hip. Whole quad stretch. And if you're really wanting to feel it, you can take that hand to the foot and then draw it in. A friend of mine calls this galaxy pose. I don't know why. Take a breath, inhale. Good. Go ahead and lower that foot if you have it lifted. If you don't, just go ahead and keep it down. Plant your hands down, tuck the back toes, lift that back knee again. Heel toe that foot through the center to where your hands are framing the foot again. Reach your arms back behind you, inhale. Draw that right hip back. Inhale, rise up, crescent lunge. And I apologize that my head is cut off here. And again, if you get up here and you're like, no ma'am, you can drop that back knee down. It's totally fine, okay? Take an inhale. And then open twist over that right leg, okay? So you're opening that right arm back behind you, left arm is forward, okay? Take an inhale, sink just a little bit lower, try to keep that knee stacked over your ankle. Draw the hands through heart center, lean forward, find that length into your spine, and draw that left elbow to your right knee. Open twist. okay? So again, if you're here and your balance is compromised, if this does not feel good, lower your back knee. You can always take that easy twist option again. Totally up to you. Take one breath here, inhale. Stay on that exhale. Try to keep the connection with your hands. Dial your chest back towards the front of the room. Lower the hands down and step that left foot up to meet the right foot. Chair pose. Sit down nice and low. Reach your arms up. Okay? So arms are in line with the ears or your hands are still at heart center, whatever feels good for you. So you want a nice neutral pelvis here. So starting to tuck that tailbone, not too much to where your whole spine rounds, but just enough to neutralize it. You should be able to see all 10 toes. Take an inhale. Reach your arms up. Exhale, fold over straight legs. We'll get a little spicier on the other side. Halfway lift, inhale. Reset the spine. Either hands are to your shins or they're down to your mat, so it's totally up to you. Plant your hands. Step back, high plank pose. Draw the shoulders over the wrists. Lower knees if you want to. Shift the weight forward, inhale. Lower halfway down. Hold for 5. Use your knees if you need to. 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower all the way down to your belly. Untuck your toes. Roll the shoulders up, back and down. Cobra pose. Squeeze your elbows. Exhale, lower all the way down. Tuck your toes. Lift your knees. Pull in the pit of the belly. Press up. High plank pose. Woo! One long line. Downward facing dog. Pedal through your feet, then through one knee and then the other. And check the chat real quick. Perfect. Awesome. So always feel free, child's pose it out if this is getting a little too intense, if you need some water, if you're just like, kind of want to do something a little bit different, that's totally fine. Listen to your body. This is your practice, not mine. Lift that left leg up towards the ceiling. Keep the hips square. Keep drawing that left foot back towards the back of the room, because that's going to allow you to press your chest back as well. Take an inhale. Start to stack that left hip on top of the right. Bend at the knee. Stack open the hips. Try to keep drawing that left shoulder down. Nod the head yes. Shake the head no. Keep everything nice and soft. Re-square off the hips. Re-extend that leg. Draw knee into your nose. Round through your spine. Shoot it up and back. 3-legged dog. Keep clawing the mat. And again, knee to nose. Round. Step it up in between your hands. Back knee lowers. Draw the hips back. Half splits. Flare the toes towards your face. If you have a little bit more room in your hamstring, you can push that foot forward even more. Halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Chin to shin. And if it feels good for you, you can windshield wiper those toes side to side. Good. One breath here, inhale. Stay on that exhale. Halfway lift, reset that spine, nice length into the spine. Right hand stays down, left arm reaches up towards the ceiling. And turn your toes this time out to like 10 o'clock. Okay? So lengthen to the spine, open through the chest, maybe spiral the gaze up towards that top hand. If not, just look over the horizon. Okay? Take an inhale here. Stay on that exhale. And then lower that left hand down. Inside of the foot, okay? So you can probably see me a little bit better on this side. Rebend into that front knee. Tuck the back toes or don't. Lift that back knee. You can lower onto your forearms here. You can stay up onto your hands. Whatever feels good for you, you can find a little bit of movement here. Just in this lizard lunge, you're gonna wanna take your left foot, turn it slightly out to like 10 o'clock. So just really get into the hips here as much as possible. And you may notice, especially with hips, one side is gonna feel completely different than the other side, and that's totally fine. Really good. If that back knee is lifted, go ahead and lower it down. Walk that right hand way far off your mat, okay? Left hand inside of that left knee. Press the knee away, open through the chest. Maybe let the gaze go back. You can close your eyes. You can look up to one spot on the ceiling. And again, if you're still feeling pretty spicy, tuck the back toes. And then just kick that heel towards that outer right hip. And maybe you stay here, or maybe you take that left hand, reach it all the way over and connect. And these are just bus stops, they're just add-ons. There's no necessity in any of it other than just listening to your body, move with what feels good, and don't do what doesn't. Take one inhale. Stay on your exhale. Release that foot if you have it. Go ahead and lower that left hand down. Heel toe that foot back into the center. Frame the foot with your hands. And then from here, tuck the back toes. Lift that back knee, runner's lunge. Crown of the head is forward. Draw that left hip back. Reach your arms back behind you. Inhale. Stabilize. Crescent lunge. Inhale. Rise all the way up to standing. Maybe invite a little bit of a bend into that back knee. Inhale. Find your stabilization. And then open twist over that left leg. Left arm is reaching back, right arm is reaching forward. Sink a little bit lower into that front knee. Maybe your back knee is lowered. Draw the hands through heart center. Again, I know you can't really see me. Shift the weight forward. Inhale, crown of the head is forward. And then hook that right elbow over to your left knee. And if you still want that challenge of keeping your arms lifted, but the twist isn't quite as accessible, you can keep that right hand onto the knee and left arm reaches back. That's gonna be pretty much the same amount of like stability. Take an inhale, twist. Stay on that exhale. One more big twist, inhale. Exhale, dial the chest back, pause, hold, lower your hands down. Step the right foot up to meet the left foot. Holy freaking moly, chair pose. Sit down nice and low. Shoulders are out of the ears. Neutralize that pelvis. Good. From here, reach your arms back behind you. Barely touch the floor, like a little tap. Sweep your arms back behind you. Engage through your triceps by trying to touch your pinky fingers together. Crown of the head is forward. Maybe lift your heels up, drinking bird. And if you fall out of it, like I just did, come right back into it. Take an inhale. Stay on your exhale. Lower the heels down. Sweep your arms all the way back up. Rise all the way up to standing. Gaze up towards your fingertips. Exhale, fold all the way forward. Come all the way down. Halfway lift. Inhale, reset the spine. Exhale, fold. Plant your hands. Step back, high plank pose. Shoulders stack over the wrists. Shift the weight forward. Inhale, lower halfway down. Hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Upward facing dog or cobra. You're doing up dog, thighs are lifted. Downward facing dog, roll over the toes. 3 breaths here. And again, feel free, pedal through your feet, then through one knee and then the other. Last little bit here before we move down to our yin practice. Take your feet maybe a little wider than hip width distance apart, okay? So you have a couple of options here. So from here, you're gonna walk the feet in just slightly, taking them wider than hip width distance, look forward, bending through your knees. Try to get the belly towards the tops of your thighs. This is a really, really great big stretch here anyway. You can just kind of drop the head if that feels good. Or if you're feeling a little froggy, want a little bit of extra spring in your step, I guess, you can take little frog hops. And they can be really small by just trying to draw the heels in towards the booty, or they can be really big. Okay? So it does not matter how high you go. It doesn't matter if you go 2 centimeters, you go 2 feet. And if you're like, nah girl, I'm gonna stay right here. That's great too. And then just take about 4 or 5 if you're taking some hops, and then step the right foot up, step the left foot up, Malasana, yogi squat. And I'll turn to face you all. Awesome. So if you're in Malasana, and if for some reason, if your heels are lifted, or if this just doesn't feel super good in your hips, that's totally fine. Your heels do not have to be connected with the floor. You can always feel free, if you have like a block or something a little bit taller, you can place it under your sit bones. That feels good. We're all a little different. Just do what feels good. Last little bit here, stay here in your malasana or crow pose. So crow pose is, in my opinion, one of the best introductory type of arm balances. Introductory doesn't mean it's not hard. It's very hard. So if you are familiar with crow pose, go for it. If you're not and you're kind of wanting to think about it, try it on a little bit, just watch me. Bring your arms forward. So from here, you want your hands to be about the same width distance for downward facing dog. And I'm not bringing my hands directly under my feet. Why? Because from here, as soon as you bend your knees and bend your elbows and bring your knees to your elbows, you have absolutely nowhere to go. So you have to bring your arms super far forward. Think of a bar in front of you. So once you get here, shift your weight forward, bend through your elbows, connect your knees to your triceps, and then maybe lift one foot. And then maybe lift the other. Maybe both. Just try it on, have a little fun. I think that's what's so nice about yoga, is just having a little bit of fun with it. And if you're like, I'm cool, I'm sitting right here, that's great. Take one breath, inhale. Stay on that exhale. Plant through your hands, wide-legged forward fold, feet are mat width distance apart. Nice, really big bend into your knees, grab opposite elbows, let your head hang. Big old ragdoll pose. Nod the head yes, shake the head no. We kind of make figure eights with the arms. We're starting to slow down a little bit, getting into that yin practice. Lower your hands down, heel toe the feet. Just hip width distance apart, maybe a little bit inner hip width distance. Nice, really big bend into that left knee. Keep the left hand down, right arm reaches up towards the ceiling. So you're getting into a nice big IT band stretch. Lower that right hand down, bend into the right knee. Lift the left arm up. One breath, inhale. Lower down on that exhale. Halfway lift, inhale, breath. Exhale, fold. Plant through your hands. Take your vinyasa without me. You can step back down dog. You can lower your knees. Grab a sip of water. You've made it. So again, this is your practice. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, however many vinyasas you want, and then we'll make our way to a nice seat. So one of the most basic, in my opinion, yin postures for outer hips is a wide-legged forward fold. So some people either they love it or they hate it, or they hate it. So just take with it what you will. There's a lot of different bus stops for it. And I'll kind of turn to face you all just so you all can see what I'm doing. So this is where you can take your blanket and a couple of options. You can bring it underneath just your sit bones to give yourself a little bit of extra lift. I like to do that often. Or if you want to, you have a little bit more openness in the hamstrings and openness in the hips, you might want to take this and roll it and then come to folding to it. But we'll get there. So the biggest thing about a wide-legged forward fold is you don't want to round into your spine here. As soon as you round into your spine, it completely takes it out of your hips, and then it turns into just like a back rounding pose. So you want to think of taking your pelvis and then pressing it forward and back. So that means your toes might turn inward. And if you did dance at all, that's like completely opposite of everything they told you. I promise it's okay. So if your toes turn inward, that's fine. So you may stay here with your hands back behind you and your chest lifted and your eyes are closed. You have a little bit more room. As long as you can keep that nice hinge into your hips, but the spine completely rounding and hunching, keep it into your hips, you can fold down to a prop. And you may start out with your knees bent. Maybe you keep your legs straight. Totally up to you. So as you're moving into this posture, there may be some things that come up for you. Maybe this feels really, really good. You like it a lot, and this is someplace you could chill for a really, really long time. Maybe you're like, oh, God, my hips are hurt. Or my hamstrings are tight. Just make sure you're saying kind things to yourself and returning back to that same breath that we were working on at the very beginning of class. Just be kind, be patient. We don't do these poses in everyday life, so if it doesn't feel supernatural, that's okay. And we do hold these poses in yin a little bit longer. So maybe you're not in your full 90% to 100% physical effort here. Start maybe in that 70 range. Give yourself something to work with. Breathe into it. That way you can get a little deeper as you breathe. Let the heart rate come down. We're going to be holding this for several breaths. So maybe here, instead of focusing on the physical pose, focusing on what's going on mentally. Take about 10 more breaths here. Be really selfish with these breaths. Take your time. You do not have to be rushed. Last one. Slowly walk all the way up. If you're in that forward fold position, walk your hands back. If you are seated upright with your arms back behind you, we're just gonna draw that left foot in, okay? So left foot moves in onto the inside. Just a nice big bend into that left knee. Take your blanket, or if you have something cushiony like a pillow, something like that, go ahead and place it on top of that right leg, okay? Just give yourself a nice cushion here. Take your hands down by either side of your hips, so one arm is forward, one arm is backward. Start to twist, so take that inhale, find your length, crown of the head is nice and lifted, twist. Then in your exhale, you're gonna fold towards that leg. So you're in kind of this twisty, foldy position. The biggest thing here, again, is the spine. So if you're rounding through the spine, it's gonna completely take it out of the hamstrings, it's gonna take it out of the hips. So go down as far as it'll let you. And then you can, from here, you can round your neck down if that feels okay. Or you can keep it lifted and press down through your hands. Totally up to you. So from lumbar, keep it nice and lengthened. And then all the way through the crown of your head, you can kind of round through. And you can take this all the way down if you've got a little bit of room into the hamstrings. So there is a little bit of effort here when it comes to keeping that twist. So I typically will start to press a little bit more into that right hand to continue to twist, and think of drawing that heel of my left hand back to allow that twist to happen. So with every inhale, lengthen through the spine, let the lungs expand. Exhale, twist, and that's going to allow you to get a little bit deeper into it. Maybe close your eyes. Slowing the thoughts down as we slow the movement down. Take about 5 more breaths. Last one. That last one, just walk your hands all the way up. Keep that leg where it is. Go ahead and release the blanket just off to the side. You're gonna turn back to the front of your mat and swing that right leg around and try to draw that left knee a little bit closer to the left side of your mat, setting yourself up for that half pigeon pose. This is a little bit of maneuvering here. Just a different way to get into it. And when you get here, you may notice that you're kind of rolling onto your left hip or maybe rolling a little bit onto the right side. That's where you can take your blanket and place it underneath that left hip. So that way you can stay up nice and tall. And I personally, as a teacher, do not care if that shin is parallel to the front of your mat. That is more about your knee than it is about flexibility or anything. So honor that knee. If it starts to kind of hurt, keep pulling it in just a little bit more. And again, you can stay upright or you can fold all the way down. If you want to use that blanket to fold too, that's great. Just take about 5 more deep breaths. Last one, inhale. Stay on that exhale. Walk your hands all the way back up. Remove that blanket first, and then just roll back onto that left hip. And then we're just gonna switch sides. So bending into that right knee, extend that left leg long. Take your blanket, place it on top of that leg. And then from here, hands are just gonna frame. Start twisting your spine towards that leg. Inhale, find length. And then on your exhale, hinge and fold. Just honoring where you're at. If your hamstrings still feel a little tight or maybe they feel pretty open. It's okay to kind of let that foot be nice and soft here. It doesn't have to have a super hard flex on it either. Just take about 5 more breaths. Every inhale, lengthened. Find a little bit more openness into the lungs, and on your exhale, twist and fold. Last breath here, inhale. Stay on your exhale. Go ahead and walk your hands all the way back up. Remove the blanket, just set it off to the side. You're gonna then take that leg and just kind of swing it around, and then bring that right knee forward. This time you're gonna be facing towards the back of your mat, and just get yourself nice and squared off. Again, you may or may not need that blanket underneath that right hip. Totally fine. Inhale, find length. Exhale, fold all the way down. Maybe during this part of the practice, you go back to maybe that word that you would set for yourself at the beginning of class. Something that resonated with you, resiliency, acceptance. Anything that worked for you, anything that resonated, hold on to that. Remind yourself of that and continue on with your breath. Just take about 5 more deep breaths here. Last one. Walk your hands all the way back. Just go ahead and roll back onto that right hip. Swing both legs around. Face back towards the front of your mat, and just take your blanket and keep it close to you just so you could use it later. And then from here, we're gonna sit up nice and tall, knees are bent, and then go ahead and lower 1 vertebrae at a time, all the way down to your mat. Just adjust yourself. And then from here, go ahead and keep your knees bent, and then just cross that right ankle on top of the left knee. So a nice little thread the needle. So you have a few options here. You can stay by just taking that right hand and pressing your knee forward. Or if you want, you can take your arms out to a T or cactus, and then just pull the unit of your legs in towards your chest without using your arms. Last option here is to thread your arms through and hug around that left shin. If you are taking the full thread the needle option, use your right elbow against that right knee to press that knee towards the front of the room, and keep a nice flex into that right foot as well. Shoulders are out of the ears. Either the gaze is soft or your eyes are closed. Take one breath, inhale. Stay on that exhale. Lower the unit of your legs down with your right hand, either peace fingers to your big toe, and then extend it for half happy baby, or hand to that outside of that knee. So the left foot is staying down, that right foot is in that half happy baby. So notice if there's a difference now versus at the beginning of class. And then if you have a little bit of space, if this still feels pretty good, you can keep your left hand onto that left hip and extend that left leg nice and long towards the front of the room. So again, if that right hip is popping up, in order to get that knee down, just grab behind the knee. And if you have a little bit more room, you can take your hand onto the outside of that foot as well. And just keep pressing your knee open. Keep driving that heel up towards the ceiling. A deep breath here, inhale. And exhale. Go ahead and release that foot down. And we'll switch sides, cross that left ankle on top of that right knee. And again, just a couple options, pressing it towards the front of the room. You can thread your arms through, or just lift the unit of your legs towards your chest without your arms. Just deciding what's gonna feel good. Just take a couple breaths, inhale. Stay on your exhale. One more, inhale. Release on that exhale. Lower that right foot down, peace fingers to big toe, or outside of that knee, press that knee open, right hand to the outside of that right hip. Totally up to you, whatever you want to take. And the side may feel a little bit different than the other. You can extend that right leg long, it feels pretty good. Always optional. Take a breath here, inhale. Stay on the exhale. Go ahead and release that foot down. Grab onto your blanket. And then from here, just try to get that blanket, even if it's rolled, kind of make it a little bit flatter. You still want a little bit of volume here. And then just slide it underneath your low back. And then extend your feet up towards the ceiling for a nice restorative waterfall pose. So your arms can be down by your sides. I personally like to bring my arms up and overhead. Totally up to you. There can be a nice bend into your knees. This does not have to be pinned straight. Your feet don't have to be flexed. Just let the feet hang off the ankles. Just let your knees be nice and soft. The core is just slightly contracted. Chin is tilted slightly toward your chest. Just really starting to get down into letting gravity doing the work here. If you feel really good, and if this is how you want to end your practice, if this is where you want to stay for your Shavasana, feel free to stay here. Or if there's any additional movement that you are craving that you really need, maybe it's another twist, maybe it's a shoulder stand, maybe it's a bridge pose, or if you are ready to just chill, if you are ready for that Shavasana, you can take your blanket. I personally like to Bring it all the way across my body and just take up as much space as I want. Be selfish with this space. Just kind of collapse into the floor. I'm going to take just these last few moments here to let yourself get comfortable or to finish off any last poses. Shavasana is the most important part of this practice. This is where you really get to receive the benefits of your practice. Feel free to stay in your Shavasana as long as you would like. If you're ready to come out of it, just start to take in a fuller and deeper breath. Coming back to surface, moving through fingers and toes, just starting to wiggle. Creating a little bit of movement. Reach your arms up overhead, find that nice full body stretch, extend your legs long if they aren't already. And then whenever you're ready, just roll over onto your right side, just stacking the shoulders, stacking the hips. Use your arm as a nice pillow. And press yourself up into a comfortable seated position, keeping the eyes closed, drawing the hands at heart center. Just bow your head towards your fingertips, taking in these last few moments. This is your moment to acknowledge yourself, being kind and giving gratitude to yourself so that you can be kind and give gratitude to others. Draw the thumbs to the forehead center in honor of those of you in this group around you. We hold each other in this safe space so that we can practice self-love and self-nourishment. Thank you so much for joining me. The light in me honors the light in each of you. Namaste. Thank you all so much for joining me. Thank you, Chanel. Thank you to the entire Audacious Athletes crew for inviting me into this space. I really do appreciate it. Please, any feedback, any opportunities for next time, what you liked, what you didn't like, let me know. If I'm ever able to come back onto this space again, I would love to know what you all are looking for. Let me know. Thank you again so much, Chanel.
Yay, thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it. Sorry, the sun went down like while our class was going on, but it was perfect for me.
It was kind of perfect. Nice little sundown flow.
Yeah, thank you so much, Leah, for being here. Thank you guys all for being here. I hope that you enjoyed your practice. I hope For anybody who is a new practice, or you might maybe haven't practiced virtually yoga before, that this opened up your living room, your space, and your heart to practicing outside of a yoga studio, and also just being really resourceful with your yoga practice. So thank you so much, Leah, for doing this for us. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
All right, bye, you guys. Thanks
Bye, y'all.
Oh, wait, I think people want to see your puppy.
Oh.
Before we get off. And LT, you probably want to show off your puppy too.
Oh, yeah. We've
They
got
both
like a
have
whole
new
like
puppies.
puppy crew in Louisville.
All the new puppies. I feel like it's going to be quarantine babies and quarantine puppies everywhere in a couple months. All right. Bye, you guys, so much.
Bye, y'all.
Bye. Let's see. Stop video. And meeting.